it's Melody, and today we're going to be talking about healthy habits that you can add in right now, because these are habits that I do all the time and they make a huge difference in my overall future, but also my day-to-day living. I feel so much better. So the very first thing is the most important one, and that is to have a productivity center. And the reason why I have a productivity center is because it makes such a big difference to stay focused for me. And this is really important because everything is contained. It's in one place. I glance over and there I see my phone, I see my to-do list for the day, and then I see my water. And even if I have a really jammed day, I will at least do one thing on that list so I never get behind on anything. And the very next thing is to replace sugar with something a little bit healthier. So for me, I've been eating an apple, lots of apples, and it's not because I've been trying to cut back on sugar, but just so happens that right now we're in apple season, and so all the apples taste really good. You almost can't pick a bad one. And when you're eating a lot more fruit and vegetable, it's hard to eat anything else. I mean, it's hard to eat a whole bunch of sugar. It's not a matter of what not to do, but more or less to be focusing on the things that you really like to do. So eating apples, whenever I think of fall, I always think of apples, and so I have a bunch of apples in my house at any given time, which today is no different. So after this, I'll be eating an apple. And the very next thing is to cut back on the blue light that you see on your screens. So if you're like me and you look a lot on social media and you're also reading, you know, with your book, or you have your lights on at night, you know, because you stay up late, all of this is sending blue light towards our eyes. And what happens is it's so hard to shut down, or it's so hard to fall asleep. First thing that I did was I got these glasses. This is the best way to block out all blue light. For me, what really works is this app called Night Shift. And Night Shift is this app where you basically hit bright. In the app, you hit the button that says bright, and then it turns everything yellowish. And so I just keep it on like that all the time, and it really makes a difference. Your eye strain is less. I can actually attest to that. Your eye strain is way less, and there is something that you can download on your computer as well to do the same effect. But of course, it's not going to block out the blue light from your lights and everything else. So if you really have trouble sleeping or things like that, or your eyesight is going, then these kind of glasses. The next hack that I have is basically to organize your phone, which I've mentioned this before, but it's very important to organize your apps in kind of a pyramid or triangle shape. Because what happens is when you organize your apps like that, so at the top I have my apps that I barely use because I'm trying not to use Snapchat and Instagram all the time, and then over here I have the apps that I use often, and I have them cascading like that because my thumbs are right where my thumb is. Having a little bit more efficiency makes a huge difference. So if you haven't set up your finger swipe on your phone and you haven't set up your icons like that, it's a good idea. If you don't have a yoga membership or you don't do Pilates or stuff like that, then there is a book that I use, which is a court reporting book. I got it when I was in the court reporting school because my wrist went out. My wrist went out because I was using the computer too much and I was practicing too much. So I started to have a lot of pain in my wrist, and those stretches in that book feel amazing. If you can do stretches in that book, I'll link it down below, but there are little stretches that you can do every day. So if you're always at your desk, or you have little hand motions, it doesn't matter what you do, you have little hand motions and you're straining, then those exercises are really good. But also lunges, doing lunges and squats. I can go walking outside, then I can get the sun on my skin, and I can also, obviously I'm using my legs, so I don't need to do a bunch of lunges and squats. But when I come home, if the sun's not out because it's winter time, then I'll just sit in front of the sunlight that I got. Ever since I got that sunlight, I haven't had trouble falling asleep at all, which is amazing. So I want to show you guys a really easy stretch, because this is my favorite stretch out of all the ones in the book. So basically, you put your hand, your arm, you straighten it out and you put it against the table or the desk, wherever you're at, and you put it at a 90-degree angle like this, your wrist. And so the key of these stretches is that you're basically doing them very slowly, because stretches are not about sudden movements. You put your hand against the desk like this, and then you move it very slowly to the right, and you move it up like that, and then you bring it back to the center, and then you move it back the other way. And another stretch that I really like, I know I said only one, but I just remembered another one that I really like, is basically to put your hand on the table and to pull back your middle finger and just pull it back really slightly, and then go down. to the rest of your fingers, and it feels really good. There's also this video online that I really like from one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, and it's basically a video on how to massage your face. So if you don't go to the spa and stuff like that, like I don't, if you don't make time for those kind of things, then doing a home massage like that or doing a facial mask like that can really make a difference because it gets your blood circulating. It's just like exercise. It makes everything a little bit healthier. I'm not going to massage my face on camera because I'll just fall asleep. So the next thing is to follow your passions. So my passion is business and physics. I have always liked productivity ever since I was a little girl. All the other people were playing, and where was I? I was there studying or writing a book. When I was younger, I was writing this book called Kelly's Journey and Beyond, and it was really like a soap opera. It turned into a soap opera because I had a very vivid imagination. But friends of mine, when they would be really bored, they would go and they would read that book because it was very dramatic. So productivity for me, like I said, I was always like that. My brother used to get spanked because he wouldn't study, and I would get spanked because I would study too much, and I'd be up late at night, way past my bedtime, eating carrots because I read somewhere that carrots would make me see better. I've been also reading this book called What is Real, and physics and science are another thing that I'm very passionate about. And when I have free time, I'll usually be watching YouTube videos, and the YouTube videos that I watch are the practical things like how to make candles. So the other day I was watching a National Geographic video on animals, and then also I've been watching videos on how Stanley Kubrick makes his movies. Those filmmakers are very interesting to me. Their ideas, you would just not even imagine how much work goes into making one film. All of the detail, all of the inspiration, which it's kind of the same for YouTube actually. When you see the behind the scenes for YouTubers videos, a lot of hours go into the final product, but there's a lot of passion behind it. So following your interests is always a good idea, and getting your creativity out there, whether it's through film or whether it's through writing or whether it's connecting in the community. So the very next thing is I will often talk to my sister every day. I will text my sister, talk on the phone sometimes, and my brother's not a texter, but he is the master Snapchatter. He's got more points than anyone I've ever seen, okay, let me just say. And I don't know a thing about Snapchat, so half of my phone calls to my brother are either a relationship question or I'm asking him how to use Snapchat. What does that pie mean? And I'll also ask him, if I send you a link, can you click on that link? I'm very close to my brother and sister, but connecting with them every once in a while, it doesn't take that much to just show appreciation. Every once in a while, it's something I gotta remind myself all the time, just like mindfulness. It's like when we get a nice thing from the store, it's so exciting for the first week after Christmas, and then all of a sudden it just blends into the background. Doesn't matter what, that's just the tendency of humans, right? So to dial back down and to be mindful. And so that is another healthy habit, is writing down a list of things that you're grateful for. And the second to the last thing is to have a uniform. So during the fall and the winter months, dressing is very simple for me because there's a lot of things I can't wear outside of the house because it's too cold. So dressing is basically me in a trench coat. That's my go-to look. And if I'm not wearing my trench coat, then it is me in blue jeans and boots. I basically wear boots all throughout fall and winter, and that's because it's just such an easy look and my feet are always warm. So having a uniform like that, even when it comes to makeup, basically having a uniform that you can put together quickly, because a lot of life for me was being indecisive about things, and that just takes all of your energy. So if you know your interests, and you know the look that you're going for, the things that are you can easily put it on. So I'm out the door very quickly because I'm always in my boots, I'm always in my trench coat, and I'm out. And so the very last tip that I have is to use aromatherapy in your life because it can make a big difference. Whether it's a perfume, for me, red roses, the scent of roses, the color of roses. But bath salts, there's one that I really like called Calm, which is a vanilla, and it kind of smells like tuberose and jasmine. It reminds me of Hawaii. Every time I draw a bath and I put these in, oh, I'm back in Hawaii. If I just close my eyes, I'm back in my childhood, and I'm walking down the tuberose bushes and it smells divine. Hawaii smells like two things. It smells like sunscreen from the tourists and flowers. Those are the two things it smells like. So you would be surprised because you think it smells a lot saltier than it does. But hey, this is bath salts. You know what I'm saying? So you got it both. So these bath salts really put me in a good mood. My rose candle and a perfume every once in a while, and it can really lift my mood, especially if it's citrus. Citrus stimulates productivity if I'm in that mood, but most of the time I just want to smell like a flower. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give it a like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next Sunday. Thank you so much for watching.